Hi there, welcome to Daily English Podcast. In this short episode, I will give you more vocabulary about food and cooking, and we will practice listening and speaking skills together. Let's go. First, I will teach you some words related to fish and seafood. Here we go. Crab, a sea animal with a hard shell and claws. For example, we had fresh crab for dinner last night. Have you ever tried a crab? What do you think? Salmon, a pink fish that lives in rivers and the sea. For example, I ordered grilled salmon at the restaurant. Yummy. Squid, a sea animal with long arms called tentacles. For example, fried squid rings are very tasty. Do you like squid? Prawns, small sea animals like shrimp. For example, she made a pasta dish with prawns. Mussels, shellfish with dark shells. For example, mussels are delicious when cooked with garlic. Lobster, a large sea animal with big claws. For example, lobster is often served with melted butter. Tuna, a large fish often eaten fresh or canned. For example, I made a tuna sandwich for lunch. Now let's talk about meat. Here are some words for different kinds of meat. Beef, meat from a cow. For example, he likes his beefsteak medium rare. Chicken, meat from a chicken. For example, we had roast chicken for Sunday lunch. Lamb, meat from a young sheep. For example, lamb chops are my favorite. Pork, meat from a pig. For example, pork sausages are popular in many countries. Duck, meat from a duck. For example, roast duck is a traditional Chinese dish. Now I will give you some common vegetables and fruits. Cabbage, a round green or purple vegetable. For example, cabbage is used in salads and soups. I love cabbage. Aubergine. In British English, it's eggplant. In American English, it's aubergine. A purple vegetable. For example, I cooked grilled aubergine slices. Mango, a sweet tropical fruit. For example, mango juice is very refreshing. Lemon, a sour yellow fruit. For example, I like lemon in my tea. Tomato, a red vegetable-like fruit. For example, fresh tomatoes are used in salads. Avocado, a green fruit with a large seed. For example, I made guacamole from ripe avocados. Melon, a large sweet fruit with soft flesh. For example, melon is perfect for hot days. Peach, a soft fruit with a fuzzy skin. For example, she baked a peach pie. Pear, a sweet fruit with a narrow top. For example, pears taste great with cheese. Raspberries, small red berries. For example, raspberries are great in yogurt. Grapes, small sweet fruits that grow in bunches. For example, grapes are used to make wine. Cherries, small round red fruits with a seed inside. For example, I love cherries in desserts. Green beans, long thin green vegetables. For example, green beans are healthy and tasty. Courgette, in British English, it's zucchini. In American English, it's courgette, a long green vegetable. For example, I fried slices of courgette for dinner. Cucumber, a long green vegetable with water inside. For example, cucumber is crunchy in salads. Red pepper, a sweet red vegetable. For example, I added red pepper to the stir-fry. Now we will learn some words related to cooking. Baked, cooked in an oven using dry heat. For example, I baked a chocolate cake for my friend's birthday. Boiled, cooked in hot water. For example, we boiled the eggs for breakfast. Fried, cooked in hot oil. For example, he fried the fish until it was golden and crispy. Grilled, cooked over direct heat, often on a grill. For example, we grilled chicken at the barbecue. Roasted, cooked in an oven with dry heat, usually for meat or vegetables. For example, they roasted the potatoes with garlic and rosemary. Steamed, cooked using hot steam. For example, I steamed the vegetables to keep them healthy. Phrasal verbs are combinations of words that have special meanings. Let's learn 3 phrasal verbs about food. Eat out, to have a meal in a restaurant. For example, we like to eat out on weekends. Cut down on, to reduce the amount you eat or drink. For example, I'm trying to cut down on sugar. Cut out, to stop eating or drinking something completely. For example, the doctor told me to cut out salt from my diet. Now let's listen and repeat. Eat out, cut down on, and cut out. Now I will give you some extra words about cooking. Ingredients, the things you use to make a dish. For example, the ingredients for a salad are lettuce, tomato, cucumber, and dressing. Flavor, the taste of food. For example, this soup has a rich chicken flavor. Spicy, food with a strong hot taste. For example, Thai food is often spicy. Sweet, food that tastes like sugar. For example, chocolate cake is sweet. Sour, food that tastes sharp or acidic. For example, lemons are sour. Bitter, a sharp taste, not sweet. For example, coffee can taste bitter without sugar. Savory, food that is salty or spicy, not sweet. For example, pizza is a savory food. Fresh, recently made or picked, not old. For example, I love fresh bread in the morning. Frozen, kept very cold so it doesn't go bad. For example, we bought frozen fish from the supermarket. Raw, not cooked. For example, sushi often has raw fish. Now I want to thank you for listening to this episode. Please write to me in the comments and tell me what you learned today. And also tell me what you would like to learn in the future. You can also help me share this episode with other English learners. Thank you. Please subscribe and follow me. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.